Now, to be a good host, first of all, it's way easier if you recruit great guests. Okay. If you take anybody as a guest and they suck, well, it makes your job way, way, way more harder. I mean, they may give one-word answers, and you have to keep digging and digging to get them to open up. Now, I'm going to talk about researching your guest, but this is another reason to do a really good job of researching the guest. They might give one-word answers on most of the questions, and that makes it really suck. But if you know enough about what they are passionate about, you can sometimes steer the interview that way, and you'll probably be surprised that they went from the worst guest ever to being animated and interesting. Anyway, it's still better to start with a great guest, especially until you get more experience. Now, where do you find great guests, and how do you check them out? Well, the National Speakers Association in Tempe, Arizona is a great place to start. You can go online and research all these people, and they all have big mouths, right? All us professional speakers have big mouths, and they have all kinds of topics. And if they're good enough to be a pro speaker, or at least want to be a pro speaker, they probably love to hear themselves talk. They probably have some clean humor and good stories, and all that makes for a great show and makes it easier on you, by the way. Also, there are podcast matching services like podmatch.com, where guests and hosts can list themselves. Most of the guests have sample interviews, so you can see what they sound and or look like if it's a video interview before you book them. And there are podcast booking agencies where guests pay to be on, and the agency always wants to find bookings for them, and this costs you nothing as the host of a podcast. Okay, the next thing I do when considering a guest is I Google the person's name and the word scam. And then I do it again with the word ripoff. And then I do it again with the word complaints. And guess what? If I see a whole bunch of results, and in some fashion they're saying this person is not a scam, pretty much you can bet they are a scammer. Okay? They manipulated people, probably affiliates of theirs, who would make money if you bought something from the scammer through their links, and who will say anything nice about the scammer just so they can get the commission. You got to run from these guests. See, if you put them on and they rip off your listeners, you're somewhat responsible morally for promoting them. And you'll shoot your reputation fast, and your show will tank once word gets around you promote ripoffs. So don't do that. All right. Now, if the person passes that test and there are no really bad legitimate complaints about them, then I'll listen to a few minutes of them on someone else's podcast. I rarely have a guest on that has never been interviewed before. See, I have a high-quality show, and I can't afford to have people on who either suck as guests or start spouting crazy stuff that I don't believe in. Right now, that's not to say I won't have a legitimate debate. I mean, I've had SEO people, that's search engine optimization people on, and other than, I've been around since the beginning, 28 years and a half now since the commercial internet started. So it's hard to put anything over on me, all right? I've been there, done that. So I used to be a big believer in SEO and was one of the best in the country for a long time. But I quit, I know now 7-8 years ago. It's just not worth it to me. But I'll be glad to debate SEO people, and that makes for a good show. But I won't promote people who are yapping about weird stuff that could hurt my audience if they did what the person was saying. So you want to listen and see what they're about before you put them on your show. All right, once the guest is booked, I will start researching them more deeply. I'll dig into their website, and many times I'll find obscure facts about them that no one else bothered to look at or bring up during an interview. So I was doing an interview one time with a big shot author, and, after doing 600